From Zero to Speaker. The Self-Taught Pro's Roadmap to Crafting a Compelling Message, Mastering Stage Presence, and Inspiring Any Audience. By Ron Gardinski. Introduction. The single greatest leverage point in your career. Picture the scene. A sterile, beige conference room. The air is thick with the smell of stale coffee and low-grade anxiety. You next. Your project, the one you've poured hundreds of hours into, the one that could redefine your position in the company, is about to be judged. Your name is called. You walk to the front of the room, laptop in hand. Your heart is a drum solo against your ribs. You connect to the projector, and your first slide appears, a dense wall of bullet points. You open your mouth, and a torrent of data, jargon, and nervous qualifiers tumbles out. 10 minutes later, it's over. You're met with polite nods, a smattering of lukewarm applause, and one or two perfunctory questions. You sit down, drenched in a cold sweat, knowing with a sickening certainty that you failed. Your brilliant work, your game-changing idea, didn't land. It fizzled, lost in a fog of poor communication. Now, picture a different scene. The same room, the same stakes. Your name is called. You walk to the front of the room, not with a laptop, but with a quiet confidence. You stand for a moment in silence, make eye contact with three key people in the room, and you begin. You don't start with data. You start with a story, a short, compelling narrative that perfectly frames the problem your project solves. You don't present a wall of text. You use a handful of powerful, minimalist slides, each with a single, stunning image or a stark, unmissable number. Your voice is calm, measured, and authoritative. Your message is a single, powerful idea, supported by a clear, logical structure. You don't just present your work, you articulate its value. You don't just dump information, you create understanding and inspire action. When you finish, the silence is different. It's the sound of an idea landing. The questions that follow aren't perfunctory. They're engaged, insightful, and excited. You haven't just delivered a presentation. You've established your authority. You've become a leader. The difference between these two scenarios is not talent. It is not charisma. It is not a gift you were born with. The difference is a system. The ability to stand before a group of human beings and effectively articulate a compelling idea is the single greatest and most underutilized leverage point in any professional career. It is a force multiplier that can take your existing knowledge and expertise and amplify its impact tenfold. Yet for the vast majority of professionals, public speaking is a source of pure terror, a dreaded obligation to be survived, not a skill to be mastered. We treat it like magic, something only naturals can do. This book is here to tell you that is a lie. A powerful presentation is not an act of performance art. It is an act of engineering. A compelling message is not born from inspiration. It is built, piece by piece, according to a proven blueprint. This book is that blueprint. It is the complete operational playbook for becoming a confident, authoritative, and persuasive speaker. We will not waste time with useless platitudes like picture the audience in their underwear. Instead, we will systematically deconstruct the craft of public speaking into a series of repeatable protocols and frameworks. In Part 1, we will rebuild your foundation, rewiring your relationship with fear, and giving you a system for discovering the one big idea that must be at the core of any great talk. In Part 2, we will become architects, structuring your message for maximum clarity and persuasive impact, learning how to wield story and data as strategic tools. In Part 3, we will drill down on the mechanics of delivery, teaching you to master your voice, body, and stage presence like a trained professional. Finally, in Part 4, we will prepare you for the high-stakes arena, providing you with a practice protocol that builds unshakable confidence and a system for managing anything that can go wrong. The ability to command a room is a skill that creates opportunity, builds authority, and accelerates careers faster than any other. By the end of this roadmap, you will no longer see the stage as a place of judgment. You will see it as a platform, and you will be ready to build yours. Chapter 1. The Speaker's Mandate. Deconstructing fear and adopting the service mindset. Before we can architect a single message or design a single slide, We must confront the primary obstacle that prevents 99% of people from ever becoming effective speakers: fear. The trembling hands, the racing heart, the dry mouth, the frantic looping thought of, "I'm going to fail." This experience is so universal it has a clinical name: glossophobia. It is consistently ranked as one of the most common human fears, often surpassing the fear of heights, spiders, and even death. To conquer this fear, we must first understand it. The fear of public speaking is not a modern anxiety. It is an ancient survival instinct gone haywire. For our tribal ancestors, our most critical survival tool was social cohesion. Being accepted by the tribe meant access to food, protection, and mates. Being judged, ostracized, and cast out was a literal death sentence. When you stand in front of a group of people, your primitive lizard brain doesn't see a board meeting. It sees a tribunal. The dozens of pairs of eyes staring at you are interpreted as a mass of potential judges, and your body is flooded with the fight-or-flight chemicals, adrenaline and cortisol, that are designed to help you survive an imminent physical threat. This is a normal biological response, not a personal failing. The amateur speaker becomes a victim of this response. They internalize the feeling, believing it is proof of their inadequacy. Their entire focus turns inward, consumed by a desperate, self-conscious monologue. How do I look? What do they think of me? Am I talking too fast? What if I forget what to say? This is the performer mindset. It frames the speech as a performance, the speaker as an actor, and the audience as a panel of harsh critics. This mindset is a guaranteed recipe for crippling anxiety and a forgettable presentation. The professional speaker does not eliminate the fear. They reframe it. They understand that the adrenaline is not a signal of danger, but a resource. It is the body providing the raw energy required for a high-performance event. The key to unlocking this energy is to execute the single most important mindset shift in all of public speaking. You must shift from a performer mindset to a service mindset. The core mandate: your job is to be a generous guide. Public speaking is not about you. It is never about you. It is about the audience. It is a fundamental act of service. The people in a room have given you the two most precious, non-renewable assets they possess: their time and their attention. In exchange for this extraordinary gift, you have a non-negotiable mandate to provide them with something of value. Your job is not to be brilliant, flawless, or charismatic. Your job is to be helpful. Your goal is not to get a round of applause. It is to deliver a new perspective, a solution to a problem, a moment of inspiration, or a clear path forward. This is not a feel-good platitude. It is a profound tactical shift. The moment your primary focus moves from "how am I doing" to "how can I serve them," the entire dynamic changes. Self-consciousness is replaced by audience consciousness. The fear of judgment is replaced by the desire to connect. Anxiety is transformed into a passionate urgency to share something valuable. When you view yourself as a guide, your purpose becomes clear. You are there to lead the audience from where they are now, a state of confusion, uncertainty, or need, to a new destination of clarity, confidence, and capability. This reframe short-circuits the ancient fear of judgment because you are no longer asking for their approval. You are offering your help. The first action protocol: the fear and service inventory. To make this shift tangible, you must execute the following drill before you begin preparing your next presentation. Take out a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. Number 1. On the left side, under the heading, "My Fears," the performer, write down every single anxiety you have about the presentation. Be brutally honest. "I'm afraid I'll forget my words. I'm afraid they'll think I'm boring. I'm afraid they'll ask a question I can't answer. I'm afraid I'll look stupid." This act of externalizing the fears reduces their power. Number 2. On the right side, under the heading "Their Needs," the guide, write down what you know about your audience and what they need from you. They need to understand why this new project is important. They need a clear, simple explanation of a new process. They need to feel confident that this plan will work. They need to know exactly what to do next. Now look at the two lists. The list on the left is entirely self-focused. The list on the right is entirely audience-focused. Your mandate is to dedicate 100% of your preparation energy to satisfying the list on the right. When you do this, you will find you have very little time or energy left to worry about the list on the left. This is your new compass. Every decision you make, from the stories you tell to the data you present, must be in service of their needs. This is the foundation of authentic, confident, and powerful public speaking. Chapter 2. The Core Message. The System for Discovering Your One Big Idea. The single biggest mistake that ruins otherwise well-intentioned presentations is the sin of too much. The speaker, often an expert in their field, falls victim to the curse of knowledge. They're so deeply immersed in their topic that they can no longer distinguish what is essential from what is merely interesting. In a desperate attempt to prove their expertise and provide value, they open a fire hose of information and spray it directly at the audience. The presentation becomes a sprawling, unstructured data dump, a collection of disconnected facts, bullet points, and ideas. The speaker believes they are being thorough. The audience experiences it as a cognitive assault. A brain overloaded with information defaults to retaining nothing. The entire presentation, regardless of the quality of its individual parts, collapses into a forgettable and useless blur. The professional speaker understands that clarity trumps quantity. The goal is not to tell the audience everything you know. The goal is to transmit one single, powerful, and transformative idea that will stick with them long after the presentation is over. This is your core message, your one big idea. Your big idea is the central, unifying thesis of your entire talk. It is the sun around which every story, every data point, and every slide must orbit. If a piece of content does not directly serve to introduce, illustrate, or prove your big idea, it is a rogue element that threatens the stability of the entire system. It must be cut. No matter how brilliant, funny, or interesting you think that tangent is, if it doesn't serve the core, it has to go. A powerful big idea must meet 3 criteria. Number 1, it must be a full, declarative sentence that makes a clear point. Leadership is a topic, not a big idea. The single most effective way to build a leader's credibility is to consistently do what you say you're going to do is a big idea. It takes a stand. Number 2, it must be provocative or offer a fresh perspective. It should challenge a common assumption or offer a new, more effective way of seeing the world. Good time management is important, is a weak idea. Blocking out the first 90 minutes of every day for your most important task is the only productivity system you'll ever need, is a strong idea. Number 3, it must be concise and portable. It should be easily remembered and repeated by your audience. It should be tweetable. If you can't state your core message in a single, compelling sentence, you haven't found it yet. Finding this idea is the most critical strategic work you will do. It requires moving from a broad topic to a razor-sharp point. The 4-step discovery protocol. This is a systematic process for unearthing your big idea. Number 1, the brain dump. Start with your general topic. Set a timer for 15 minutes and write down every single idea, concept, fact, story, and piece of advice you can think of related to that topic. Do not edit or judge. The goal is to get all the raw material out of your head and onto the page. Number 2, cluster and theme. Look at the chaotic list you've generated. Start grouping related ideas together. Use a highlighter to color code different themes. You might see a cluster of ideas around meetings, another around communication tools, and another around individual focus. Number 3, filter through the audience lens. Now, look at these themes through the eyes of your audience avatar. Which of these themes addresses their most significant and urgent pain point? Which one offers the most transformative solution? This is where you begin to separate the merely interesting from the truly essential. You might have 20 great ideas about meetings, but if your audience's biggest problem is constant distraction from email, then that is where your focus must be. Number 4, refine and articulate. Once you've identified the most relevant theme, your job is to distill it into a single, compelling, declarative sentence. This is an iterative process. Write a first draft. Is it a full sentence? Is it provocative? Is it portable? A first draft might be email management for productivity. That's a topic. A second draft might be you should manage your email better to be more productive. That's a weak idea. A strong final draft would be processing your email in 2 scheduled batches per day will reclaim 40% of your productive time. That's a strong big idea. Locking in your big idea is like setting the foundation for a skyscraper. It is the most important work, and it happens before anything else is built. Write on a Post-it note and stick it to your monitor. This is your North Star. Every subsequent decision in the presentation design process will be tested against it. Chapter 3, The Audience Avatar. The Science of Speaking to One to Persuade 1,000. After the sin of too much, the second most common failure in public speaking is the sin of vagueness. The speaker, in a well-meaning attempt to be relevant to everyone in the room, makes their message generic. They speak in broad generalities, use corporate speak, and offer one-size-fits-all advice. They're trying to speak to the audience, a faceless, anonymous blob. As a result, they connect with no one. The message is a diluted, lukewarm broth that provides no real nourishment to anyone. The professional speaker knows a deep psychological truth. The human brain is not moved by generalities. It is moved by specifics. The path to persuading a room of 1,000 people is not to shout a generic message at all of them, but to whisper a specific, tailored message to just one of them. To achieve this, you must reject the notion of speaking to an audience and instead create a detailed, specific audience avatar. An audience avatar is a semi-fictional, composite sketch of your ideal audience member. It is the one person in the room you are dedicating your talk to. By focusing your entire message on solving this one person's specific problems, answering their specific questions, and speaking their specific language, you create a message of such piercing relevance that everyone else in the room who shares those characteristics feels as if you're speaking directly to them. Building your avatar is not an optional, fluffy exercise. It is a core strategic discipline that will inform every choice you make. The Avatar Construction Protocol. Take the time to sit down and answer these questions in as much detail as possible. Give this person a name. Find a stock photo online that represents them. Make them real in your mind. Number 1, demographics. The what give them a name, an age, a job title and industry, and a level of expertise on your topic. Number 2, psychographics. The why. Identify their primary pain points. What are their top 1 to 3 frustrations, challenges, or problems as they relate to your topic? Be incredibly specific. A generic pain point would be, he has poor time management. A specific pain point would be, he comes into work every day with a clear plan, but by 9:30 a.m., his entire day has been derailed by a flood of urgent requests in Slack and email. He spends his days fighting fires and feels he makes no progress on the deep, strategic work he was hired to do. Identify their secret hopes and desires. What is the transformation they are truly seeking? What does the after state look like for them? A generic desire is, he wants to be more productive. A specific desire is, he dreams of leaving the office at 5:30 p.m., feeling a sense of accomplishment and control, knowing he moved his most important projects forward. He wants to be fully present with his family in the evening, not mentally stressed about the work he didn't get to. Identify their beliefs and objections. What do they currently believe to be true that your big idea might challenge? What are the skeptical questions they will have in their mind as you speak? For example, a belief might be, he believed that responding to messages instantly makes him seem like a responsive and valuable team player. An objection might be, this batch processing idea sounds nice, but it's not realistic. My boss expects me to be available all the time. Number 3, watering holes in language, the where and how. What blogs, podcasts, or publications do they follow? What influencers do they listen to? What jargon, acronyms, and specific language do they use in their daily work? Using their language builds instant rapport and signals that you are an insider who understands their world. From avatar to message, a before and after example. Let's say your big idea is, Adopting an asynchronous communication model is the key to unlocking deep work for your team. A generic message would sound like this. Today, I'm going to talk about the benefits of asynchronous communication. It can help improve productivity by reducing interruptions and allowing for more focused work time, which is important for organizational efficiency. A message tailored to our avatar, Project Manager Paul, would sound like this. I know what your Tuesday morning looks like. You have the project plan open, ready to finally map out the next critical sprint. But then Slack explodes. The design team has a question. Marketing needs a status update, and your boss pings you with an urgent request. By lunchtime, you've been busy all morning, but the project plan is still a blank page. What if I told you there's a way to shut down that fire hose of interruptions without looking unresponsive? Today, we're going to talk about a simple system of asynchronous communication that will give you back those deep work blocks you desperately need, and I'll even show you how to sell it to your boss. The second version is a different world. It speaks directly to Paul's pain, validates his experience, and promises to solve his specific problems. By focusing on Paul, you capture the attention of every other project manager, team lead, and overwhelmed knowledge worker in the room. This is the science of specific persuasion. Chapter 4, The Unforgettable Opening. Mastering the first 30 seconds. You have no grace period. The modern audience is conditioned for distraction, armed with devices, and burdened by 1,000 other demands on their attention. They are not giving you the benefit of the doubt. They are making a rapid, subconscious judgment in the first few moments you are on stage, and that judgment will determine whether they invest their precious cognitive energy in your message or retreat into the private worlds of their smartphones. You do not have minutes to warm them up. You have seconds to seize their attention. The opening of your presentation is the single most valuable and highest leverage piece of real estate in your entire talk. To squander, it is an act of professional malpractice. The amateur speaker, unaware of the stakes, almost universally wastes these critical seconds. They default to one of 4 cardinal sins of opening, each of which signals to the audience that a boring, low-impact presentation is about to commence. Number 1. The pointless pleasantry. Hi everyone, it's really great to be here. Thanks so much for coming out today. This is verbal filler. It accomplishes nothing and burns your most valuable time. Number 2. The boring agenda. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the 4 key pillars of our Q3 marketing strategy. First, we'll cover. This is a spoiler, not a hook. You're giving away the structure without first creating any desire to hear the content. Number 3, the cringeworthy apology. I'm a little nervous. Public speaking isn't really my thing. Or, I know these slides are a bit hard to read. This is an immediate and catastrophic destruction of your own credibility. Number 4, the generic self-introduction. My name is John Smith, and I'm a senior manager in the operations department. Unless you are a celebrity, your name and title are not a hook. They are biographical data that can be delivered later, if at all. The professional speaker understands that their first 30 seconds have one and only one mandate: to create a question in the minds of the audience. It must be a question so compelling, so intriguing, that they feel a neurological need to stay tuned for the answer. This is the curiosity gap. You open a loop that the rest of your presentation will systematically close. After you have created this question with your hook, you must immediately make a clear and explicit promise. This promise answers the audience's single most important, albeit unspoken, question: what's in it for me? The hook makes them listen. The promise makes them care. Here are 3 field-tested, high-impact frameworks for engineering an opening that seizes attention and establishes authority. Framework 1. The provocative question or shocking statistic. This is the most direct method. You bypass all pleasantries and go straight for the cognitive jolt. You challenge a deeply held assumption or present a piece of data that is so surprising it forces an immediate mental recalibration. Here's an example using a provocative question. The hook could be: what if I told you that the most common piece of advice for team productivity, the open door policy, is the very thing that is systematically destroying your team's ability to produce high-value work? Then the promise: over the next 15 minutes, I'm going to prove to you why that's the case. And I'm going to give you a simple three-step communication protocol that will allow you to be just as responsive to your team while reclaiming hours of deep work time for everyone. Here's an example with a shocking statistic. The hook. According to a recent study by the National Bureau of Economic Research, the average professional now spends over 6 hours a day on electronic communication. That's 75% of a standard workday spent not on creating value, but on reacting to a blinking cursor. The promise. My entire goal today is to give you back at least one of those hours every single day. We're going to walk through a system for managing inbound communication that has been proven to cut email processing time in half. Framework 2. The in medias res story. In medias res is Latin for in the middle of things. You drop the audience directly into a moment of high tension, conflict, or transformation without any introduction or setup. Their brains are immediately engaged in trying to figure out the context, creating an irresistible narrative hook. Here's an example, starting with a moment of crisis. The hook. It was 3:17 a.m. on a Tuesday, and I was staring at a server log that was scrolling so fast, it was just a blur of green text. And somewhere in that blur was the single line of code that was costing our company $10,000 every minute. My phone was buzzing off the table with calls from the CEO. I had no idea what to do. Then, the promise. That night, I learned the most painful and valuable lesson of my career about problem solving under pressure. Today, I'm going to share the 3-question clarity framework I developed in that moment of crisis, a framework that will allow you to handle any high-stakes problem with calm and precision. Here's another example, using a moment of realization. The hook. I was sitting across the table from our single biggest client, a woman named Carol. We had just spent 6 months building what we thought was the perfect solution for her. And she looked at me and said the 5 words that every professional dreads. I guess this is fine. The promise. Fine is the death of great work. And that moment forced us to completely re-examine how we listen to our clients. Today, I'm going to share the simple but profound shift in our discovery process that took us from delivering fine work to delivering work our clients can't stop talking about. Framework 3. The us versus them declaration. This framework creates an immediate sense of in-group identity and shared purpose. You paint a picture of a changing world, dividing it into 2 camps, those who are stuck in the old way and those who have embraced the new. You position yourself and the audience together in the second camp. An example from business strategy. The hook. In our industry, there are 2 types of businesses right now. There are the incumbents, who are competing on price, features, and efficiency. And there are the challengers, who are competing on a completely different axis, customer experience. The incumbents are fighting for scraps. The challengers are creating entirely new markets. The promise. My purpose today is to hand you the challenger's playbook. We're going to deconstruct the 3 core principles of a world-class customer experience that you can begin applying to your business, not next quarter, but next week. An example for personal development. The hook. There are 2 ways to approach your career. You can see it as a ladder, a linear climb up a predefined path set by your organization. Or you can see it as a laboratory, a place for rapid experimentation and skill acquisition. The people on the ladder are waiting for permission. The people in the lab are creating their own opportunities. The promise. Today, I'm going to show you how to start running your own career laboratory. I'll give you a framework for identifying and testing new skills that will make you indispensable, no matter what happens to the corporate ladder. Your opening is not a warm-up. It is the main event. Script it, memorize it, practice it until you can deliver it with unshakable confidence. It is your single best opportunity to command the room and earn the right to their attention. Chapter 5. The persuasive structure. Proven frameworks for clarity and impact. A brilliant message delivered without a clear structure is like a pile of high-quality building materials with no blueprint. All the necessary components are there, but they're just a disorganized heap, incapable of supporting any weight. The audience is left confused, unable to follow the logic, and will quickly disengage. Structure is the invisible skeleton that gives your presentation shape, strength, and coherence. It is the logical pathway you create to guide your audience from their starting point to your desired conclusion. The human brain is not a passive receptacle for information. It is an active sense-making machine. It is constantly trying to identify patterns and organize incoming data into a logical framework. If you do not provide a clear framework, the audience's brains will struggle to create one, wasting precious cognitive energy that should be spent understanding your message. A professional speaker removes this burden. They provide a simple, robust, and explicit structure that makes their message easy to follow, easy to remember, and easy to act upon. While there are countless ways to organize a talk, the vast majority of effective business, technical, and persuasive presentations rely on a handful of proven, psychologically resonant frameworks. Mastering these frameworks will give you a repeatable system for turning your ideas into a compelling argument. Framework 1. The problem, agitate, solution model. This is the workhorse of persuasive communication. It is ruthlessly effective because it directly mirrors the fundamental human motivation to avoid pain and seek pleasure. Number 1. Problem. You begin by stating the problem in a way that is immediately recognizable to your audience avatar. You describe their current, undesirable reality. This creates immediate common ground and gets them nodding in agreement. For example, every quarter, our team spends nearly 2 weeks manually compiling sales data from 5 different systems into a single report. Number 2. Agitate. This is the critical step most amateurs miss. You don't just state the problem. You twist the knife. You vividly illustrate the consequences, frustrations, and costs associated with the problem. You make them feel the pain. For example, this isn't just inefficient. It means our sales leaders are making decisions based on 2-week-old data. It means our analysts are burned out on mind-numbing copy-paste work instead of finding real insights. It cost us the Acme deal last quarter because we couldn't get them an accurate forecast in time. Number 3. Solution. After building the tension to its peak, you introduce your big idea as the elegant and powerful solution. It arrives as a welcome relief to the pain you've just agitated. For example, but what if we could build a single automated dashboard that pulls real-time data from all 5 systems? A dashboard that would give our leaders instant insights and free up 2 weeks of our analysts' time every single quarter. That is what Project Phoenix will deliver. Framework 2. The what, so what, now what model. This framework is exceptionally useful for educational or informational presentations where the goal is to introduce a new concept, technology, or piece of data and make it relevant. Number 1. What? You start by clearly and simply defining the new thing. This is the purely informational part. Strip away all jargon and explain the concept in its most fundamental terms. For example, today I want to talk about a new piece of software called Canvas. What is it? It's a collaborative digital whiteboard tool that allows cross-functional teams to brainstorm and workshop ideas in real time, no matter where they are located. Number 2. So what? This is the most important part of the framework. You must explicitly answer the audience's question. Why should I care? You translate the information into impact. You explain the relevance, the implications, and the benefits for them. For example, so what does this mean for us? It means our product development cycle, which is constantly bogged down by slow feedback loops between design, engineering, and marketing, can be dramatically accelerated. It means an end to endless email chains with conflicting feedback. It means we can get better ideas to market faster. Number 3. Now what? You conclude with a clear, actionable directive. What should the audience do with this new knowledge? What is the next step? For example, now what? The pilot team for the Canvas software is being formed next week. If you're a project lead and you want your team to be considered for the pilot program, I want you to send an email to this address before Friday with the subject line Canvas Pilot. Framework 3. The chronological story, past, present, future. This framework is ideal for vision casting, change management, or State of the Union presentations. It creates a powerful narrative arc that honors the past, grounds the audience in the present, and inspires them toward a compelling future. Number 1. The past, The origin story, you begin by reminding the audience of where you've come from. You acknowledge the shared history, the challenges overcome, and the principles upon which the team or company was built. This creates a sense of shared identity and honors the work that has been done. Number 2, the present. The reality check, you then provide an honest and clear-eyed assessment of the current situation. This includes celebrating recent wins, but also transparently acknowledging the new challenges and opportunities you face. This builds credibility and grounds the talk in reality. Number 3, the future. The vision. This is where you pivot to a compelling, inspiring, and clearly articulated vision of the future. You paint a vivid picture of the destination and introduce your big idea as the strategic vehicle that will get you there. No matter which framework you choose, you must make it obvious to your audience. Use signposting language to act as a verbal GPS. Say things like, "So that's the problem. But what's the real cost?" Or, "Now that we understand what this new technology is, the more important question is, why should we care?" This verbal handholding makes your logic effortless to follow and dramatically increases message retention. Chapter 6, The Power of Story. A practical guide to narrative that persuades. If you want an audience to remember a number, put it in a chart. If you want them to remember an idea, wrap it in a story. Human beings are not logical creatures. We are narrative creatures. For tens of thousands of years, before the written word, before data analytics, the primary technology for transferring wisdom, culture, and survival strategies from one generation to the next was storytelling. Our brains are not just receptive to stories. They're physically and chemically wired for them. A well-told story can synchronize the brain activity of the speaker and the listener, releasing chemicals like oxytocin and dopamine. The amateur speaker either avoids stories, believing them to be unprofessional fluff, or they tell rambling, pointless anecdotes that waste time. They deliver facts, figures, and bullet points, speaking to the logical, analytical part of the audience's brain, while completely ignoring the ancient, emotional, decision-making part of the brain. The professional speaker understands that a strategic story is the single most effective vehicle for transporting an idea into the minds and hearts of an audience. A story takes an abstract concept and makes it concrete. It takes a dry data point and gives a human face. It is not fluff. It is the ultimate tool of persuasion. However, not all stories are created equal. A strategic story for a presentation is not a shaggy dog tale. It is a lean, purposeful, and engineered narrative designed to accomplish a specific objective. It must have a clear point that perfectly illustrates or proves your big idea or a key supporting argument. The 3-act strategic story arc. Every effective strategic story, whether it's 60 seconds or 5 minutes long, follows a simple 3-act structure. Act 1. The setup, the relatable status quo. Introduce a character. The story needs a protagonist that the audience can see themselves in. This can be you, a customer, or a colleague. Give them a name and a simple, relatable goal. Then, establish the before state. Describe their normal world, the status quo before the events of the story began. This is the baseline reality that is about to be disrupted. For example, let me tell you about Sarah, one of our junior account managers. Like everyone on her team, her primary goal was to make sure her clients were happy. Her normal day consisted of answering emails and putting out small fires, and she was very good at it. Act 2. The conflict, the inciting incident, and the struggle. First, the inciting incident. Something happens. A challenge appears, an obstacle emerges, or a crisis strikes. The character's normal world is thrown into disarray. Then, the struggle. This is the heart of the story. The character tries to overcome the obstacle and fails. They struggle. They face setbacks. This struggle is what creates tension, emotional investment, and makes the final resolution satisfying. A story without a struggle is just a boring report. For example, then the big Acme account landed on her desk. It was a huge opportunity, but they were a demanding client. Sarah's old method of just reacting to emails wasn't working. She was working 12-hour days, but the client was still unhappy complaining that they never knew the status of their projects. She tried creating manual reports, but they took hours and were out of date by the next day. She was on the verge of burning out, and we were on the verge of losing the account. Act 3. The resolution, the discovery, and the afterstate. First, the discovery or climax. The character has a moment of insight. They try a new approach, use a new tool, or have a realization. This is the turning point. Then, the afterstate. You describe the new reality that exists because of the discovery. This new reality must be a perfect, concrete illustration of your big idea. For example, then, in a moment of desperation, Sarah tried something new. She stopped just reacting and instead built a simple, shared project dashboard. The same kind of dashboard I'm proposing we roll out to everyone. The change was immediate. The Acme client could see the project status in real time. The endless email chains vanished. Last week, they not only renewed their contract, they doubled it. Sarah learned that true client service isn't about being reactive. It's about being proactively transparent. That is the power of the system I'm talking about today. The story library protocol. You should not be trying to invent stories on the fly. You must become a systematic collector of them. Create a story catcher. Use a simple notebook, a note-taking app, or a spreadsheet. Actively hunt for stories. Look for them everywhere. Personal stories of your own successes and failures. Customer stories about their before and after states, and colleague stories about the successes and struggles of the people you work with. Catalog them. For each story, write a one-sentence summary and tag it with the key themes or ideas it illustrates. When you build your next presentation, you can simply consult your library for the perfect, pre-vetted story to make your point land with unforgettable impact. Chapter 7. Data that resonates. Transforming numbers from boring to breathtaking. In any professional setting, data is the currency of credibility. A claim without evidence is merely an opinion. A proposal without supporting numbers is just a wish. However, the amateur speaker commits a fatal error. They believe that the data speaks for itself. It is not. Data presented without context, interpretation, and narrative is not information. It is a cognitive burden. It is noise. The amateur puts a slide on the screen that looks like a page from an annual report, a dense table of numbers, a chart with 12 different data series, a flurry of percentages, and commits the unforgivable sin of saying, "As you can see." The audience can't see. What they see is a visual puzzle that requires intense effort to decode. And faced with that effort, their brains do what all brains are programmed to do. They conserve energy. They check out. The speaker has not only failed to persuade, they've actively sedated the room with their own evidence. The professional speaker operates from a fundamentally different premise. Data has no inherent meaning. A number is an abstraction. It is the speaker's solemn duty to be the translator, the interpreter, and the meaning maker. They must take the abstract and make it concrete, take the complex and make it simple, and take the cold, hard fact and give it a human heartbeat. This chapter provides the system for transforming your data from a liability into your most powerful persuasive asset. The Data Translation Protocol, a 4-step system. This is a repeatable process for ensuring every piece of data you present lands with clarity and impact. Number 1. Frame the question first. Never lead with the number. Lead with the question the number answers. Before you show a single chart or statistic, you must create a context that gives the data a purpose. You are preparing the audience's mind, creating a mental landing strip for the information that is about to arrive. An amateur would say, "Here is our website bounce rate for the last 6 months." A professional would say, "We've all felt that our new website homepage isn't connecting with customers as well as it should." The key question we needed to answer was, are we failing to capture their attention right from the start? We decided to measure the bounce rate, the percentage of people who leave after viewing just one page, to find out. The data was alarming. The professional creates suspense and purpose. The data is no longer just a statistic. It is the answer to a pressing question. Number 2, isolate the single most important insight. One slide, one idea. This rule is absolute when it comes to data. A chart or slide must have one and only one job to do. Your role is that of a surgical editor, cutting away every single piece of extraneous information to make the one key insight impossible to miss. Start with the simplest possible chart type. Then, remove all chart junk, unnecessary grid lines, borders, 3D effects, shadows, and redundant labels. Use color and weight to make your key insight pop. All the contextual data should be a neutral color, like gray. The one piece of data you're talking about should be in a bright, contrasting color. The title of your chart should not be a description of the data. It should be the conclusion the audience should draw from the data. Number 3, humanize the scale. The human brain did not evolve to comprehend large, abstract numbers. Figures like 4.7 million or 0.2% have no intuitive, emotional meaning. You must translate these abstractions into a human-scale comparison that the audience can feel. To translate money, connect the sum to a tangible consequence. Instead of, this inefficiency is costing the company $800,000 per year. Say, this inefficiency is costing us $800,000 a year. To put that in perspective, for that same amount of money, we could hire a team of 5 senior software engineers and fund them for the entire year. Right now, that money is vanishing into thin air. To translate time, connect small increments of time to their cumulative impact. Instead of, the new process will save 2 minutes per transaction. Say, 2 minutes per transaction might not sound like a lot, but we handle over 3,000 transactions a day. That's 6,000 minutes. We're talking about saving 100 hours of manual work every single day. That's the equivalent of hiring 12 new full-time employees. To translate percentages, connect the percentage to the real people it represents. Instead of, our customer satisfaction score increased from 82% to 87%. Say, that 5-point jump in our satisfaction score isn't just a number. It represents 2,500 real customers who have gone from feeling just satisfied to feeling truly supported by our product. Number 4, marry the data to a story. This is the final and most powerful step. After you have framed, isolated, and humanized the data, you must immediately anchor it with a brief narrative. The data provides the logical proof of your point. The story provides the emotional resonance that makes it stick. The data is the what, the story is the so what. For example, our data shows that customers who use the new project template feature are 50% less likely to churn in their first 90 days. But that's just a statistic. Let me tell you what that actually looks like. I want you to meet Mark. He runs a small marketing agency. He told us he almost canceled his subscription in his first month because he was totally overwhelmed. Then he discovered the project template feature. He said it was like a light bulb went on. Last week, he landed his biggest client ever using a project plan he built with that feature. Mark is that 50% statistic. That is why this feature matters. By systematically applying this 4-step protocol, you will transform your data from a presentation killer into a persuasion powerhouse. You will move from being a mere presenter of facts to a trusted guide who illuminates the meaning behind the numbers. Chapter 8. The Unforgettable Close. How to land the plane with power and purpose. The way you end your presentation is not an afterthought. It is a strategic imperative. The psychological principles of primacy and recency state that people best remember what they hear first and what they hear last. You have already engineered your opening for maximum impact. Now, you must engineer your closing with equal, if not greater, precision. The amateur speaker has no plan for their conclusion. Their presentation simply runs out of steam. It sputters, circles, and then crashes with a weak and uncertain phrase like so. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Or the even more common. So, any questions? This is an abdication of your final and most important duty, to bring the journey to a satisfying and purposeful conclusion. A weak closing leaves the audience feeling confused, uninspired, and unsure of what they were supposed to take away from the experience. The professional speaker understands that the closing is their final opportunity to do 2 things. crystallize the core message and catalyze action. They do not just stop talking. They land the plane with deliberate control, bringing the audience to a complete stop at exactly the right destination. A powerful closing is an engineered two-part sequence: the summary and the call to action. Part 1. The summary, the final echo. You must give your audience a clear and unambiguous signal that you are entering the final approach. This cues them to refocus their attention for your most important takeaways. Use simple, direct signposting language like, "As we wrap up today," or "So, let's bring this all together." Your summary is not a detailed rehashing of every point you've made. It is the final, powerful echo of your one big idea. This is your chance to state it in its purest, most distilled form. There are several powerful techniques for achieving this. The bookend. This is an elegant and highly effective technique. You deliberately circle back to the story, question, or statistic you used in your opening hook. This creates a powerful sense of psychological closure and narrative satisfaction. For example, at the beginning of this talk, I told you about being in that server room at 3 a.m., watching our company bleed money. The clarity framework we've walked through is what turned that moment of absolute panic into a turning point for our business. It's the proof that in any crisis, the quality of your questions is more important than having the right answers. The rule of 3. Summarize your core message as 3 key, memorable takeaways. The human brain is exceptionally good at remembering things in threes. For example, so if you remember nothing else, remember this: listen, simplify, and repeat. Listen to what your customers are really asking for. Simplify your solution to its absolute core. And repeat that simple, valuable message in everything you do. Part 2. The call to action, the now what. This is the moment of truth. You have informed, you have persuaded, you have inspired. Now you must direct that energy toward a specific outcome. An inspirational message without a clear call to action is like a powerful engine that isn't connected to the wheels. It makes a lot of noise, but it goes nowhere. A powerful call to action must be specific, actionable, and simple. It must answer the question, "Now what?" with piercing clarity. A weak call to action would be, "So I encourage you all to embrace innovation." This is vague and unactionable. A strong call to action would be, "My challenge to you is this. This week, I want you to schedule one 30-minute meeting with your team for the sole purpose of asking one question. What is a stupid rule or a dumb process that gets in your way every single day? And your only job in that meeting is to listen." That is the first step to real innovation. The strong call to action provides a concrete, low-friction first step that the audience can take almost immediately. The final landing gear, your last sentence. Once you have delivered your summary and your call to action, you must deliver your final sentence. This sentence should be scripted, memorized, and powerful. It should be the final, resonant chord of your presentation. For example, that is the first step to real innovation. Let's start building. Or, the platform is yours. Go claim it. After you deliver this final sentence, do the most powerful thing you can do on stage. Stop talking. Hold the silence for 2 full beats. Let the finality and the weight of your message land in that silence. Then, and only then, offer a simple, genuine smile and say thank you. This is how you land the plane. Chapter 9. The instrument. Mastering your voice for authority and emotion. Your message is the what of your presentation. Your delivery is the how. You can have the most brilliantly crafted message in the world, but if it is delivered through a weak, monotonous, or hesitant vocal instrument, its power will be cut in half. The audience doesn't just hear your words. They hear the music behind the words. That music, the pace, the pitch, the volume, the pauses, is constantly broadcasting subconscious signals about your confidence, your conviction, and your authority. The amateur speaker is a slave to their vocal habits. Nerves cause their voice to rise in pitch and their pace to accelerate into a frantic, hard-to-follow gallop. They litter their speech with a constant stream of verbal static. The ums, h's, likes, and you knows that act as audible evidence of their uncertainty. Their voice is a liability that betrays them at every turn. The professional speaker is the master of their vocal instrument. They understand that their voice is not a fixed attribute, but a dynamic tool that can be consciously controlled and developed through practice. They wield its core components to add texture, create emphasis, and project an unshakable sense of command. This chapter is your guide to the 4 fundamental variables of vocal mastery. Number 1. Pace, the deliberate brake pedal of authority. The single most common and destructive vocal habit of a nervous speaker is talking too fast. To the audience, it sounds rushed, uncontrolled, and desperate. The single most effective way to sound more confident and authoritative is to deliberately and consciously slow down. A measured pace conveys gravitas. It gives your words weight and importance. Practice speaking at a rate that feels just slightly uncomfortably slow to you. Record yourself. You will be surprised to find that what feels slow in your head sounds measured and authoritative on the recording. Mastery of pace isn't just about being slow. It's about being variable. You can slightly increase your pace when telling an exciting story to build energy, and then dramatically slow down right before you deliver the key punchline or your big idea. Number 2. Pause, the strategic power of silence. The amateur fear silence. They fill every microsecond of dead air with filler words. So, this is the sound of a brain buffering. The professional, by contrast, understands that silence is not a void. It is a tool. A well-placed, intentional pause is perhaps the most powerful device in a speaker's arsenal. Before you deliver a truly critical point, pause for 2 full, silent seconds. This acts like a verbal highlighter, sending a powerful subconscious signal to the audience. Shut up and listen. After you have delivered that critical point, pause again for 2 full seconds. This gives the audience a moment to absorb what you've just said. The way to eliminate filler words is to train yourself to replace them with a brief, silent pause. Number 3. Pitch, the melodic contours of engagement. Pitch refers to the highness or lowness of your voice. A speaker who uses a narrow, monotonous pitch range is neurologically boring. A monotone delivery is a vocal sleeping pill. Vocal variety creates interest. When you make a declarative statement, your pitch should naturally go down at the end of the sentence. This sounds conclusive and confident. Many nervous speakers do the opposite, ending statements with an upward question inflection, which makes them sound uncertain. Consciously emphasize the most important words in your sentences by slightly raising the pitch on them. This simple technique can make your speech dramatically more engaging. Number 4. Volume, the dynamic dial of emotion. Volume is the most straightforward vocal variable. The goal is not just to be loud enough, but to use volume dynamically to create emotional texture. To be heard in a large room, you must project from your diaphragm, not shout from your throat. Stand up straight, breathe from your belly, and speak from your core. This creates a full, resonant sound that carries without straining. Paradoxically, one of the best ways to command attention is not to get louder, but to get quieter. When you want to share a personal story or make a particularly profound point, take a step forward, lean in slightly, and drop your volume. This creates a sense of intimacy and forces the audience to lean in and listen more intently. The vocal warm-up protocol. Your voice is produced by muscles. Just like an athlete, you should warm up those muscles before a high-performance event. Before your next talk, find a private space and run this simple 5-minute routine. Number 1. Lip trills for 1 minute. Loosely press your lips together and blow air through them to create a motorboat sound going up and down in pitch. Number 2. Humming for 1 minute. Hum a simple scale up and down. This warms up your vocal cords gently and helps you find your natural resonant pitch. Number 3. Tongue twisters for 2 minutes. Slowly and deliberately recite a few classic tongue twisters like red leather, yellow leather, or unique New York. This improves your articulation. Number 4. Diaphragmatic breathing for 1 minute. Place a hand on your belly. Breathe in deeply through your nose, feeling your belly expand. Exhale slowly on a SSSS sound, feeling your belly contract. By treating your voice as an instrument and systematically practicing these techniques, you will transform your delivery from a subconscious liability into a conscious, powerful tool of persuasion and authority. Chapter 10. The Body Politic. Using stance, gesture, and movement with purpose. The moment you become visible to your audience, whether you're walking on stage, standing up at a boardroom table, or being revealed on a video call, your presentation has already begun. Long before your carefully crafted opening line is spoken, your body is delivering its own powerful, silent monologue. Your audience will form an instant, subconscious impression about your confidence, credibility, and authority based on your posture, gestures, and movement. If this visual channel contradicts your verbal message, if you speak words of confidence, but your body screams anxiety, the audience will always believe your body. The amateur speaker is betrayed by their own physicality. Nerves manifest as a chaotic symphony of distracting signals. The restless shifting of weight, the frantic pacing, the fidgeting hands, the hunched shoulders. Their body is not an asset, it is a liability. The professional speaker understands that their body is an instrument, a full-body amplifier for their message. They are a master of their own physical state, consciously using their stance, gestures, and movement to project groundedness, to illustrate ideas, and to command the space they occupy. This is about achieving congruence, where your physical presence is in perfect, harmonious alignment with your verbal message. The foundation, the speaker's stance. Every purposeful movement you make on stage must originate from and return to a position of grounded stability. This home base is your physical and psychological anchor. It projects an unshakable sense of calm and control. To achieve it, stand with your feet planted firmly on the ground, approximately shoulder-width apart. Your weight should be distributed evenly between both feet. Your knees should be soft and slightly bent, never locked. Your shoulders should be pulled back and then relaxed down, away from your ears, opening up your chest. Your hands should be relaxed at your sides or gently brought together at navel height. Your chin should be parallel to the floor. This stance should feel both relaxed and ready. You are occupying your space with a sense of deservingness and presence. Practice this stance until it feels natural. This is the physical embodiment of I belong here. Be mindful of weak stances. Shifting your weight from foot to foot signals uncertainty. Rocking on your heels broadcasts nervousness. The perennial problem: what to do with your hands. For most aspiring speakers, their hands are their greatest enemy. The desire to do something with them is overwhelming and leads to distracting behaviors. First is the fig leaf, clasping your hands low in front of you. This is a protective, submissive gesture. Next is the firing squad, clasping your hands behind your back. This can look overly formal and rigid. Then there's the pocket plunge, jamming your hands in your pockets. This looks casual to the point of being disrespectful. Finally, the crossed arms, the most defensive posture of all. It creates a literal barrier between you and the audience. The solution is twofold. First, you must have a neutral ready position. This is your hands gently clasped at navel height or simply relaxed at your sides. Second, you must give your hands a job to do by employing purposeful gestures. A taxonomy of purposeful gestures. Your gestures should not be random flailing. They should be the physical manifestation of your words. They are the punctuation and illustration that bring your language to life. The vast majority of your gestures should take place within the gesture box, the space extending from the top of your chest to your hips and as wide as your shoulders. Number 1. Illustrative gestures. These gestures help the audience visualize what you are saying. To show size, spread your hands wide apart. To show contrast, gesture with one hand, then the other on opposite sides of your body. To show connection, bring your hands together. Number 2. Emphatic gestures. These gestures add punch and conviction to your points. A single, crisp downward chop with one hand can emphasize a key declaration. Tapping your heart with your fingertips can show a personal belief. Number 3. Enumerating gestures. When you're listing points, use your fingers to physically count them off. There are 3 reasons this will work. First, while holding up one finger. Second, while holding up two fingers. This adds structure and clarity. Number 4, inclusive gestures. These are open-handed gestures, palms slightly up, that sweep across the audience. They're non-verbally saying, "We are all in this together." Strategic stage movement. Choreography for impact. Aimless. Nervous pacing is a massive distraction. Purposeful, motivated movement, however, is a powerful tool for structuring your talk and maintaining audience engagement. Your audience will subconsciously associate different parts of your message with different locations on the stage. You can use this strategically. Deliver the problem section of your talk from one side of the stage. When you transition to the solution, physically walk to a different spot. Deliver your call to action from a third spot. This physical movement reinforces the logical transitions in your content. When you're telling a personal story, take 2 deliberate, slow steps toward the audience. This closes the physical and psychological distance. Use the physical act of walking to bridge the gap between 2 major ideas. Movement is only effective when it is contrasted with stillness. When you are delivering your most critical line, plant your feet. Stand in your powerful home-based stance and deliver the line with absolute stillness. This lack of movement gives the words incredible weight and gravity. Your body is telling a story. By mastering these physical fundamentals, you can ensure that it is telling the same confident, credible, and compelling story as your words. Chapter 11. The Eyes Have It. Forging genuine connection with your audience. In the intricate dance of human communication, eye contact is the master step. It is the single most powerful tool you possess for transforming a sterile monologue into a vibrant, personal connection. It is the invisible current that flows between you and your audience, building trust, conveying conviction, and making each person in the room feel as if you're speaking directly to them. The amateur speaker, gripped by fear, systematically avoids this vital connection. Their eyes dart around the room, scanning the ceiling, the floor, their slides, anywhere but into the eyes of another human being. This evasiveness is a catastrophic, credibility-destroying mistake. It sends a loud and clear subconscious message. I'm nervous. I don't fully believe what I'm saying. I'm afraid of you. The professional speaker sees eye contact as their greatest opportunity. They have learned that you don't have to connect with the entire audience. You just have to connect with one person at a time, over and over again. They have a system for turning a room of strangers into a series of intimate, one-on-one conversations. The core mechanic: land, linger, and lift. Effective eye contact is not a frantic scan or a robotic sweep. It is a deliberate, rhythmic, and personal act. This 3-step process is the fundamental building block. Number 1. Land. Choose one person in the audience. It doesn't matter who, just pick one face. Number 2. Linger. This is the most important step. You must lock your gaze with that one person and deliver an entire sentence or a complete thought directly to them. This should last for a full 3 to 5 seconds. To them, it will feel personal and engaging. You are not staring them down. You are having a micro-conversation. Number 3. Lift. At the end of that phrase or sentence, gently and gracefully lift your gaze and move it to a different person in a completely different part of the room. Then, repeat the process. This method creates a cascade of positive effects. The person you are looking at feels a powerful sense of personal connection. For everyone else, it simply appears that you are a confident speaker engaging the entire audience. Systematic room coverage, the W method. To ensure you're connecting with all sections of the room, you need a simple pattern to follow. A highly effective one is the W method. Start by connecting with someone in the back left corner of the room. Then, move your gaze to someone in the front center left. Next, move to someone in the back center. After that, someone in the front center right. Finally, connect with someone in the back right corner. You can trace this pattern throughout your talk, ensuring that every section of the audience feels seen and included. Handling different room sizes. In a small boardroom, the stakes for eye contact are highest. You must make a point to connect with every single person multiple times. For a medium-sized classroom, the W method is ideal. Be sure to include the people in the very back and the very front. In a large auditorium, you must apply the land, linger, and lift method to sections rather than individuals. Mentally divide the room into 5 or 6 zones. Focus on one section, find a single face or spot, and deliver a full thought to that zone before moving to the next. Advanced technique. Matching your gaze to your content. Your eyes can do more than just connect. They can help tell the story. For introspection, when recalling a personal memory, it is natural and effective to briefly break eye contact and look up or to the side. For emphasis, when delivering your most critical line, find one person in the center of the room and deliver the entire line directly to them with unwavering eye contact. For rhetorical questions, you can briefly lift your gaze over their heads before bringing it back down to connect with individuals as you begin to answer it. Eye contact is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with conscious practice. In your daily conversations, start practicing the linger step. Hold eye contact just a second longer than you normally would. As you build this muscle, it will become a natural source of confidence and connection on stage. Chapter 12. Visuals that serve. A minimalist guide to slides that support, not steal the show. Let us begin with a sacred vow. First, do no harm. In the modern presentation, the most common instrument of harm is the slide deck. Software like PowerPoint and Keynote are powerful tools, but in the hands of an amateur, they become weapons of mass distraction. The amateur speaker makes a catastrophic error. They believe the slides are the presentation. They use their slides as a personal teleprompter, a repository for every thought, fact, and figure. This leads to the dreaded slide-omit, a slide that is also a document, and fails at being either. Each slide is a dense, text-heavy wall of bullet points, which the speaker then proceeds to read aloud. This is a neurological disaster. It triggers split attention. The audience is forced to choose between reading the screen or listening to you. The brain cannot do both effectively. They will default to reading, rendering you, the speaker, utterly redundant. The professional speaker understands one true purpose of a visual aid: to enhance the audience's understanding of what the speaker is saying. The speaker is the star. The slides are the set dressing. They must serve the speaker, support the message, and never compete for attention. To achieve this, you must adopt a ruthless, minimalist philosophy. Your new mantra is the billboard test. A person should be able to grasp the entire meaning of your slide in 3 seconds. If it requires more time, your slide is too complex. The 5 permissible slide types, a complete toolkit. You should limit yourself to 5 simple, powerful, and visually clean slide types. Number 1. The single, full bleed image. This is your workhorse. A single, beautiful, high-resolution photograph that covers the entire slide and evokes a core emotion is infinitely more powerful than a list of bullet points. The image creates a feeling. Your words provide the meaning. Number 2. The single number or statistic. When you have a truly shocking or important number, make it the hero of the slide. Nothing else. Just a number in a massive, clean font. A slide that just says 93% has a stark, dramatic impact. Number 3. The short phrase. Use this to introduce a key term, a section theme, or your big idea. The slide should not be the full sentence, but the key phrase that anchors it. If your point is, the single most effective way to build credibility is to consistently do what you say you're going to do, your slide might simply say, do what you say. Number 4. The disjunct graph. When you must show a chart, you must be a ruthless editor. Start with the simplest possible chart type. Remove every non-essential element: grid lines, borders, shadows, and unnecessary labels. Use a neutral color for all data except for the one you were talking about, which should be in a bright, contrasting color. The title of the slide must be the key takeaway from the chart. Number 5. The blank or black slide. This is the pro-level secret weapon. A blank or black slide is your most powerful tool for controlling focus. When you're about to tell your most important story or deliver your most critical point, you can insert a black slide. The screen goes dark and 100% of the audience's attention snaps back to you. Design fundamentals for non-designers. You do not need to be a graphic designer to create a beautiful deck. Just follow a few simple rules. High contrast is king. Your text must be instantly legible. This means dark text on a light background or light text on a dark background. Use one font family. Choose one clean, modern, and legible font like Helvetica or Arial and use it for the entire presentation. Create a simple color palette. Choose 2 or 3 complementary colors and use them consistently. Embrace white space. Empty space is not wasted space. It is a critical design element that reduces cognitive load and creates a sense of elegance. When in doubt, take more stuff out. A great slide deck is an act of reduction. It is defined not by the information it contains, but by the unnecessary information it has ruthlessly eliminated. Chapter 13. The Practice Protocol. How to rehearse like a professional. There is a pervasive and dangerous myth in the world of public speaking. The myth of the natural. We watch a speaker who is polished, articulate, and effortlessly confident, and we attribute their skill to an innate talent. This is a comforting lie. It absolves us of the responsibility to do the hard work required to achieve the same level of mastery. The truth is far less magical and far more empowering. The effortless, charismatic delivery you see on a TED stage is not the result of talent. It is the product of thousands of hours of deliberate, systematic, and intelligent practice. The amateur speaker confuses practice with review. They run through their slides a few times in their own mind. They read over their notes. They believe that because they know the material, they are prepared to deliver it. This is a fatal miscalculation. Knowing a topic and presenting a topic are two completely different skills. The professional speaker does not review, they rehearse. They understand that the goal of practice is not to memorize a script, but to internalize a message so deeply that it can be delivered with conversational authenticity. This chapter provides a 3-phase protocol for moving beyond mere review and into the realm of professional rehearsal. Phase 1. Content internalization and structuring. The primary goal of this phase is to burn the structure and flow of your presentation into your mind. You're moving the content from the page to your memory through the act of speaking it. For the setup, find a private space. Stand up, as you will when you present. Have your slides or a simple outline in front of you as a safety net, but your goal is to rely on it as little as possible. For the first pass, deliver your entire presentation out loud from start to finish. Do not stop. It will be rough. You will stumble and feel awkward. This is the point. You're discovering the friction points, the areas where your logic is fuzzy or your transitions are clunky. As you finish, immediately make notes on the parts where you struggled. Then, refine and repeat. Rework only those friction points. Simplify the language. Create a clearer bridge between ideas. Then do the entire talk through again. Repeat this process 3 to 5 times. Your objective is not a word-for-word identical speech each time. Your objective is to move through the entire logical structure smoothly and conversationally. You are building the mental map of your presentation. Phase 2. Delivery simulation and refinement. Once the content is internalized, you must shift your focus entirely to the how, your physical and vocal delivery. This is the most uncomfortable and most valuable phase of practice. For the setup, create a simulation of the speaking environment. Stand up. If you'll use a slide remote, hold one in your hand. Set up your phone or webcam and hit record. Then, deliver the talk as if you were in front of a live audience. Look into the camera lens as if it were a person. Use the gestures you plan to use. Give it your full energy. Next comes the silent review. Watch the entire recording back with the sound completely muted. Your only focus is on your physical presence. Is your stance grounded and stable, or are you nervously shifting your weight? Are your gestures purposeful, or are you fidgeting? Is your movement intentional, or are you aimlessly pacing? Are your facial expressions engaged? Then comes the audio-only review. Listen to the recording without watching the video. Close your eyes. Your only focus is on your vocal instrument. Are you speaking at a measured, authoritative pace, or rushing? Are you using strategic silence, or filling every gap with ums and ahs? Is your voice dynamic or a flat monotone? Finally, pick one thing to fix. Do not try to fix everything at once. Choose the one physical habit and the one vocal habit that are most distracting. Then, re-record and repeat. Do another full, recorded rehearsal with the conscious intention of improving those two specific things. Phase 3. Environmental and pressure simulation. The final phase is about preparing yourself for the unpredictable variables of the live environment and the psychological pressure of a real audience. First, the tech rehearsal. Never let the first time you use the technology be on the day of the event. Practice with the exact slide remote, laptop, and video adapters you will be using. Second, the wardrobe rehearsal. Give your talk wearing the exact outfit you plan to wear on the day. This removes a potential source of distraction and discomfort. Third, the audience rehearsal. This is the ultimate pressure test. Gather a small, trusted audience of 1 to 3 friends or colleagues. Ask them for specific, tactical observations. Give them a checklist. Track my filler words. Watch my eye contact. Tell me the one thing that was least clear to you. Delivering to even a small audience is the best possible way to simulate the feeling of live performance adrenaline. The amateur practices until they get it right once. The professional practices until they can no longer get it wrong. This rigorous protocol is what separates the two. Chapter 14. Managing the Stage. A System for Nerves, Tech, and the Room. The moment of truth has arrived. You are about to step into the live arena. In this environment, you must contend with 3 powerful forces: your own internal state, the external environment, and the dynamic energy of the audience. The amateur speaker is a victim of these forces. The professional speaker is not immune, but they are prepared. They have a system for managing an imperfect environment. System 1. The internal state protocol for managing nerves. The adrenaline surge just before you speak is inevitable. The butterflies, the racing heart, the sweaty palms. These are signs that your body is preparing for a high-performance event. Your job is not to extinguish this fire, but to harness it. First, the cognitive reframe. The physical sensations of anxiety and excitement are remarkably similar. The only difference is the label your brain assigns to the feeling. When you feel the adrenaline, consciously say to yourself, "I am not nervous. I am excited. My body is giving me the energy I need to connect with this audience." Second, the physiological reset with box breathing. In the minutes before you go on, find a quiet corner. First, inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Second, hold your breath for a count of 4. Third, exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 4. Fourth, hold the exhale for a count of 4. Repeat this cycle 4 to 5 times. This simple technique acts as a natural brake on your heart rate and stress response. Third, the physical grounding. Channel the nervous energy out of your body. Shake out your hands and arms. Roll your neck and shoulders. Stand tall with your hands on your hips and your chest open for 2 minutes in a private space. These physical actions can have a measurable impact on your hormonal state. System 2. The external environment protocol for managing technology. Your presentation should never be held hostage by faulty tech. You must assume technology will fail and build redundancy. The redundancy trinity. Your presentation must exist in at least 3 places. Number 1, on a laptop. Number 2, on a USB drive with both the native file and a PDF version. Number 3, in the cloud on a service like Google Drive or Dropbox. The dongle rule. Never trust a venue to have the right adapter for your laptop. Own your own set and bring them with you every time. Arrive obscenely early. Get to the venue well before you're scheduled to speak. This gives you a relaxed buffer to do a full tech check. Prepare an analog backup. A truly prepared speaker has internalized their message so well that they could walk to the center of the stage with no slides and still deliver a powerful presentation. System 3. The dynamic delivery protocol for managing the room. A presentation is a live performance. You must be present enough to sense the energy of the audience and make subtle adjustments. Reading the energy. Is the audience bright and engaged or sleepy and lethargic? If the energy is low, you need to be the source of energy. Increase your vocal variety and use more purposeful movement. The micro-yes technique. If you feel the audience is disengaged, re-engage them by asking a series of simple questions to which the answer is yes. For example, have you ever felt like your day is hijacked by your inbox? Raise your hand. This simple physical action gets them back into a state of active participation. Handling distractions. If a phone rings or someone enters the room late, do not let it fluster you. Simply pause for a moment, hold the silence until the distraction has passed, and then calmly resume exactly where you left off. By having these 3 systems in place, you're the pilot of the plane, fully prepared to navigate any turbulence and bring your message in for a successful landing. Chapter 15. The Art of the Q&A. Thinking on your feet with grace and authority. The formal presentation is over. You are now entering what is often the most challenging part of your performance, the question and answer session. The amateur speaker dreads the Q&A. They see it as an unscripted minefield. The professional speaker welcomes the Q&A. They see it as an extraordinary opportunity to demonstrate mastery, address objections, and build deeper rapport. Thriving in the Q&A is not about having a perfect answer for everything. It is about having a simple, robust system for handling any question with poise. The Universal Q&A Handling Protocol, a 3-step system. This protocol should be applied to every single question you receive. Number 1, listen, pause, and acknowledge. When an audience member is asking a question, give them your undivided attention. When they have finished, pause. Take 1 to 2 full, silent seconds before you speak. This conveys thoughtfulness and prevents a knee-jerk reaction. Begin with a simple acknowledgement, such as, "That's a great question." Number 2, repeat or rephrase the question. This is a critical, non-negotiable step. Before you answer, briefly restate the core of the question for the entire audience. So, the question is about how this strategy scales for a much larger, globally distributed team. This ensures everyone knows the context for your answer, confirms you understood the question, and gives your brain a few extra seconds to finalize your response. Number 3, answer, bridge, and stop. First, deliver your answer. Be direct and concise. The best answers are often under 60 seconds. After you have answered, execute the bridge, seamlessly connecting your answer back to your presentation's one big idea. For example, and that's how it would work for a larger team, which really reinforces the core principle we talked about. That simplicity is the key to scalability. Finally, and most importantly, stop talking. A field guide to difficult questions. For the aggressive or hostile question, do not get defensive. Your goal is to de-escalate. Find a small kernel of validity in their point and agree with it. You're right to point out that implementing this would be a significant challenge. Then, calmly pivot back to your frame. For the multi-part question, don't try to remember and answer all of them. Politely take control. Those are all great questions. Let me start with your first point about the budget. Address one part and then move on. For the off-topic question, politely but firmly fence it off. That's a fascinating question, but it's a bit outside the scope of today's talk. I'd be happy to brainstorm with you about that offline. For the question you don't know the answer to, never bluff. The most powerful response is to say, with confidence, "That is an excellent question, and to be honest, I don't have a good answer for you right now." You can then either promise to follow up or defer to the audience to see if someone else has insight. Ending the Q&A on a high note. Never let the Q&A just fizzle out. You must be the one to end it. When you have time for one last question, announce it. After you answer that final question, deliver a final, brief, powerful restatement of your big idea or your call to action. End the entire event on your terms. Conclusion. The platform is yours, from speaker to leader. The myth, the great disempowering myth of public speaking, is that it is a gift of genetics, a charismatic quality bestowed upon a lucky few at birth. We watch masterful communicators and label them naturals, conveniently ignoring the hidden architecture of their craft and the disciplined practice that underpins their effortless delivery. This myth serves as a comfortable excuse, allowing us to remain spectators in our own careers, avoiding the perceived risk and terror of the stage, while simultaneously forfeiting the immense rewards of influence and leadership that reside there. The summary: we have systematically dismantled that myth. We have revealed that a powerful presentation is not magic. It is a meticulously engineered system. We have provided the complete architectural blueprint for that system. It starts with a solid foundation, transforming fear into service, discovering your one big idea, and connecting deeply with a single audience avatar. It is built with a clear and persuasive message architecture, from an unforgettable opening to a powerful close, strategically wielding the tools of story and data. It is brought to life through the mastery of delivery, learning to command your voice, your body, and the space you occupy. And it is fortified for the high-stakes arena, with rigorous protocols for practice, for managing the unexpected, and for mastering the art of the Q&A. The identity: you have absorbed the roadmap. The transformation in your identity has already begun. You're no longer someone who merely gives presentations. You are a speaker. You now understand that the ability to stand and deliver a clear, compelling, and persuasive message is not a soft skill. It is the ultimate career accelerant. It is the force multiplier that transforms your raw expertise into recognized authority. It is the bridge between being a competent manager and becoming a true leader. The stage is no longer a place of judgment to be feared. It is a platform to be built, a space from which you can serve your audience, advance your most important ideas, and shape the conversation in your field. The command: this blueprint is now in your possession. But an architectural drawing has never provided shelter. Its value is only realized through action. Your final command is this: seek, do not avoid, your next speaking opportunity. Do not wait for the perfect, high-stakes keynote. Find the next 5-minute team update, the next project proposal, the next brown bag lunch session. Seize that small opportunity and choose just one system from this book to implement with intention. Engineer your opening hook. Build a single, powerful billboard slide. Practice the land, linger, and lift eye contact method. Leadership is not a title that is given. It is an act of communication that is demonstrated. The platform is not a gift. It is a construction project. You have the tools. You have the plans. Start building. Did this roadmap help you? Your journey is just beginning, but your feedback is crucial. If this book provided you with real-world value, the single best way to support this mission is to leave an honest review on Amazon. Your review helps other ambitious, self-taught pros find the tools they need to bypass the gatekeepers and build the career they deserve. Thank you for being part of the community. More by Ron Gardinski. Your roadmap continues. You've learned to command the stage. Now, build the personal brand and charisma that turn a great speech into a lasting legacy. From zero to thought leader. Evolve from a speaker into an industry authority by building a content engine and becoming the go-to expert in your field. From zero to charismatic. Master the art of confident body language and sparking unforgettable conversations to effortlessly connect with any audience, on or off the stage.